Hey, Blake Dieters! Okay, so welcome back to part two of my life update. I'm just updating you on what's been going on with me while I've been away from YouTube. Not like away, but yes. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Welcome back to all my returning subscribers. Thank you so much for your continued support. I am feeling the love and I appreciate it. If you are a newcomer, complete the ritual that makes you family by clicking the subscribe button down below. Also, click the notification bell so you are notified every time that I upload a new video, especially one of these life updates and things that I've been going through and everything. If you want to share that with me, if you want to commiserate with me, just click the subscribe button and we will be together talking about life, about anything that you want to hear, at least from me. Okay. So while I'm giving you a life update, I just thought I would also let you know that I know in the first part I announced that I am expecting, which is quite amazing. It's great news. It's amazing, especially given my journey. Before I think I'll do a video where I get into detail about that. But for now, yeah, I just want to talk to you about a very tough time that I also went through while I was away. And it was my very first time going through such an experience. And I know a lot of people have been experiencing similar or have had an experience similar to mine during this COVID time. So, yeah, I just wanted to record a video just in case there's somebody out there who may be in the same situation or who came from the same situation that I was in. Or maybe you're in it right this second. So I lost my brother. Um, yeah, that was like the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with in my entire life. I've never experienced such a loss in my life. I always thought I was so blessed growing up because, you know, both my parents were still alive. Even though I had, a tumultuous relationship with my dad, I still had a relationship with him and he was still alive. And my mom was there for me. And, I felt like that's such a blessing. One thing I never thought was ever going to happen to me, I never thought it was going to happen to me that I was going to lose a sibling. And also, I never even imagined that it would be that painful. Not that I don't love my siblings, by the way, but I'm just saying if you've never experienced something, you can only guess. You know, you can never really, you can never anticipate, something like that. You can't, I don't know how. If you've lost somebody, I know you can relate to what I'm talking about, especially in this time of the pandemic and everything. So for me, it was so sudden. I felt like it was so sudden, but I think because I was so deep in my own life at the time because, I'm expecting a baby and I'm setting goals for my future. Like, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? And how am I going to shape up everything in light of what's going on in my country, where I live with the pandemic. And also, my daughter is writing her exams, her Cambridge checkpoint exams. And at the time, she was really struggling. And I wanted to help her, but I didn't know how to help her because sometimes, as a mother, you get to be very frustrated with your child. And I saw that it was ruining our relationship. So I didn't know how to help her without being frustrated. And I didn't know how to not freak out because I was thinking, I want the best for her. So in that time, I did have somewhat of a warning sign. If you believe in dreams, I'm a huge believer in dreams. I had a dream that we were at my brother's funeral. And I think because I, I just didn't want to think about it. I prayed about it and I didn't really take it seriously. If I want to be honest, I quickly just, because it was so painful for me. That dream was so painful for me that I didn't even want to think about anything bad happening to him. Also, we didn't talk every day. You know, he was 6 years, 6 or 7 years older than me. So, by the time I was like in first grade, he was already in high school. If you know, can't imagine like the difference. But then we grew up in the same household. He's the one who just pushed me into spirituality and gave me my foundation. And he was just a gentle soul. He was the most gentle human being I've ever encountered in my life. And I grew up with him. I knew his character. He was one of those people that if you saw him speaking about something, he wasn't lying. That's how he lived, you know, and he had a good heart. He loved his children. He loved his wife. He loved all of us. And we had just started kind of repairing our relationship because we had kind of not went our separate ways, but because we just have different lives, sometimes you forget to check on each other. You forget to just check in on each other. And he had been working so hard and he had been just, you know, chasing dreams like we all are. And I've been trying to reach out to him and I've been like, hey, how you doing? And he would respond after like 2, 3 days. But I didn't think anything of it because I knew that he had been working so hard. And I remember if you watched my first video, my first catch up video that I did during the first trimester of my pregnancy, I was super sick. And sick in a way that I'd never been like I've never experienced that before because it was so confusing. I didn't know the line between the pregnancy symptom or COVID or any other underlying illness. So I kept on going to the emergency room trying to get help, but it was really the pregnancy. It was really the pregnancy. So anyway, at that time it was still early. I didn't want to let anybody know that I was expecting. The only person who knew was my husband. And I think my sister knew. I'm not sure. I don't remember if I had told her. So my brother, just came to see me out of the blue. And I didn't even hug him. I was like, I can't hug you. I'm sick. I don't know. It might be COVID, so I don't want to risk your life and everything. But we sat, we spoke, and I told him, you know, I've been having dreams about you and everything. We had that time to talk. And he just came to see me out of the blue. And that was the last time I saw him. And that was about 3 or 4 months before he passed away. And after that, I kept on having dreams about him every day. Like, I had a lot of dreams about him. But then they weren't really about like bad dreams. They were just dreams of, you know, just regular dreams, you know. And then, you know, when you're pregnant, you start having a very vivid dream life. You know, your dreams just start like being like movies. So yeah, I just figured that's what it was. Now, you know, hindsight being 2020, I wish I would have called him during those times. You know, I wish I would have checked in on him. I wish I would have just gone there and spent more time with him. Because to be honest, it hit me like a ton of bricks when I found out that he had passed away. And just to answer a question, no, it was not COVID. He did not die of COVID, but still, you know, it was a tough time for me anyway, because it was still a very sudden death because he literally got in the hospital. It was a Saturday morning. By the end of that day on Saturday, he had passed. So a few hours after I even found out he was sick, he was already, you know, he had already passed away. So, and like I said, he was always so healthy, so vibrant, so, you know, my other sister said she had just spoken to him the the day before he passed away. So he died, but he was pretty fit, you know. It's not like we had time to deal with it. He was in the hospital for months and months. At least you get time to make peace with it. But that wasn't the case. And it was one of the most difficult things I had to endure during this time. And I hadn't even told him that I am expecting yet. I hadn't even told him just a whole lot of things that I wanted to talk to him about. because he was so busy, I hadn't had the chance to speak to him and just sit down with him and just let him, know some of the things that I wanted to tell him. I just wanted to pour out my heart to him. But for me, I felt like I wanted to do it with a grand gesture. I had to do it with something meaningful. I wanted to buy him something big, like a car or a house or something. So I was saying, until that time comes, I really want to tell him how much he means to me. But I want to tell him with something so big that he really understands that I'm not just saying this. But again, hindsight being 2020, I wish I would have just gone ahead and said it to him and told him everything that I wanted to tell him. Because that was one of my biggest regrets. Because now, because death is final, there's no do-over. I cannot call him back to say, no, 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 no. Come back. Let me tell you everything that I want to tell you. And at the same time, even when he was in the hospital, there's no way that I could call him and say, hey, I just want to tell you this because I didn't expect that that was his last moments. Yeah, it was just a very hard time for me, for my family. And also because of this whole COVID thing, we had to do the funeral pretty quickly. I think we only waited one day. He passed the Saturday night, and then we only had Sunday to meet and just plan everything. And that Monday, we had to bury him before 3 that Monday. So even my sister who's out of the country, who lives outside the country, she couldn't fly in for the funeral in time because she wouldn't have made it. She wouldn't have made it. So it was hard. Even just leaving his grave, like I was the last one to leave the cemetery. I was the very last one because I felt like I was leaving him there. Even though I know that he's a spirit, but I'm saying it felt that way to me. And watching them lower the body. And another thing also, because of the whole COVID thing, we couldn't view his body. Because I always feel like body viewing, that's like the last time you get to see your loved one. We couldn't do that because there's all these safety precautions and everything. We couldn't view his body. We couldn't do that. We couldn't stay as long as we wanted to. I had to cut my speech short, all those things. So I guess my advice to you, if you are watching, either maybe you have a loved one who is sick and you know already that they're already going, making their path to the next life, they're transitioning to the next life. Say everything that you want to say to them. Resolve anything that you want to resolve. Get everything off your chest. Tell them you love them. Tell them any and everything that you want to tell them, because trust me, it's the worst feeling to feel like you have regret. Because my brother was, he was so close to my heart. Like I said, I didn't speak to him every day. We didn't have that kind of relationship, but I had the highest regard for him. I had a lot of love for him. He was the most kindest, gentle soul that I had ever encountered in my life. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you about another thing that's been going on in my life. It was a pretty sad time, and I went through a little bit of anxiety and prayer, just asking God, what am I not seeing? Asking for answers, asking for revelation, like how can I get over this? And I went through panic attacks at night because I received the call that he had passed away at night. Every time when it was nighttime, I felt like, oh Lord. I kept on replaying the words because my mom called me and she said, I've lost my son. That's what she said. And those words would replay over and over and over and over every time. And it was in the winter time, so it got dark around 6, maybe 5:30. So 5:30 p.m. when it got dark and I closed closed the curtains, everything, I would just start hyperventilating. I didn't know how to cope, but thankfully, because of prayer, because of just allowing myself to accept what had happened, now I think I'm in a better place. It still hurts, but at least I've accepted it. that he has moved on to the next life. And as a believer, I believe that I'm going to see him again. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you in this video. Let me know if you have lost a loved one, or if you know someone who's lost a loved one, how you're dealing with it, how you're coping. Till the next video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.